This week I'm going to share something from Mark chapter 3, this really kind of insightful Bible verse that I hadn't really considered much before until now. This is the part in the book of Mark where Jesus calls the disciples to follow him, the 12. He calls out 12 men to follow him, and it says this in Mark chapter 3, verse 14. It says, "He appointed 12 that they might be with him and that he might send them out to preach." That's just the first part. There's a little more to it than that. But what strikes me in this particular verse is what Jesus calls them to do initially. It says, he appointed 12 that they might be with him. Now, what I think is fascinating about this text is that it shows the power of presence. See, Jesus doesn't call the disciples to first and foremost go out and preach and to cast out demons and to heal the sick and the poor. No, he calls them first and foremost to be physically with him. There is something about the presence of Jesus that has more power than we can possibly imagine. And I think one of our temptations as sinful people is we want God to give us our assignments, right? We want a job to do. God, just tell me what to do and I'll go do it. God, go tell me who to witness to and I'll witness to him. Tell me what ministry to build and I'll build that. But actually what Jesus is first and foremost calling us all to do is to be with him. This is how relationships work. We know this is how relationships work because think about all those individuals in your life that made an impact on you. And it could have been a mentor, it could be a friend, it could be a parent, it could be a sibling. Anyone who has an impact on your life, they all share the same characteristics. They are present. They are with you. And that's what Jesus is calling his disciples to do, to be present with him. And that's what he is calling all of us to do. It's a powerful and yet oftentimes overlooked element to being a follower of God. Right? We want our assignments, and God is calling us, hold on, before I give you the assignment, be with me. Why is he doing that? Well, because the more you are with Jesus, the more you are with God, the more you become like him. It's a little bit like, this past week I spent time up north, close to the Boundary Waters in Minnesota with my kids. And you might ask yourself, okay, what's the point of taking your kids up north, to the Boundary Waters to go camping? And, obviously as a dad, the point is simply to be with my kids because I love my kids. It would be strange if my children, they took the perspective of, well, I'll go camping with you, Dad, as long as, you give me some guidance, as long as you teach me how to, build a campfire, as long as you instruct me on how to become a better person, as long as you teach me how to shoot a bow and arrow. As long as you check off all these boxes, then it makes sense for us to be together. But my kids don't do that. Why? Because they love me and I love my kids. And all those things come, right? I teach them a lot, and there's a lot of growing that happens when I'm with my children. But really the first and foremost, the primary thing that we are doing is we are spending time together. The dad is present with his children. And that's what God desires for all of us, for us to step into his presence. And many of us might have doubts about the future. We might struggle with our current situation, and we might be, maybe we're even railing against God in the moment, at this moment, because we don't know what's coming around the corner. And yet we forget the simple calling that God is bringing us all into, that simple calling of, come to me. I'm present. I am here. Rest in me, and I will work everything else